Give us just a second, brother, and then we'll bring you in.
Okay.
Oh shit! It happened again, bro.
It happened again. What happened?
I think we're live.
I think we're live.
I think
Oh
we're
shit.
live. Fuck.
Here we go.
Here we go. Okay,
Let's go.
we're live. Today we're gonna talk to Calvin on 586B stories. We're gonna. I hear he's gonna make his way through the 10Q gauntlet and like dare to answer the hardest questions of his. I know. I know. And nobody's buying into this crap anymore. I give this speech and it's like. It's the hot ones of question and answer. The questions will get hotter the further. No.
Kind of, maybe.
Hey, Calvin, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
You know what? I'll be honest. We got kind of a cool day today too. It was only in the like 70s. We hit some crazies last week, but today was Today was perfect.
Oh wow, yeah. So today was a pretty good day. So what town are you guys in? 'Cause I'm in Atlanta. It was pretty hot and muggy here right now.
We're in Eastern Standard Time too. We're
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Yes.
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We too
I
love
had
that weather.
I had asked the question because sometimes times get messed up and we agree on a time and then I'll forget to ask the question of where are you, and then and then I'll go to call and it's like 2:00 in the morning and I just don't know, you know.
Do we need to bring up Bosnia?
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think we need to bring up Bosnia.
We work with a young guy out of Bosnia named MZZ that just does some amazing guy. And the funniest thing is his English is all. Man, he sounds like he's out of Hollywood
Yeah.
because he loves movies and music
Yeah.
but it's not his first language. You just don't realize that when you're on the phone with him.
Yeah. Wow.
So down in the ATL, huh? God, Atlanta I think of as like my personal belief is Atlanta has the most beautiful women in it. And I don't know why.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there.
Well, you can
'Cause,
stand downtown and watch stuff go by that you are sure was made up in a mad scientist lab. That when you're
Right.
like, what combination? Oh my God,
Yeah.
I don't know, but make more of those.
Seriously. Yeah, Atlanta's different because Atlanta's kind of like the new Hollywood. A lot of people are moving here. Like the population has grown like 10% just in the last year. So there's a lot of this construction. The housing market is rising now because so many people are coming. And then it's all walks of life. So that's why it definitely seems that way. And then, a lot of women are big on getting the surgeries and all that. So it's like there are some beautiful women, but there's also a lot of Barbie dolls as well.
I see.
And that's no shots fired. I think every woman's beautiful. They can absolutely do what they love to do. But
There are
there's a whole
no
lot of
chicks
that
with
as well.
dicks, only guys with boobs.
that a whole lot of that too.
Surgery, you don't trust
Yeah.
what any. No,
Yeah.
I
you
want.
gotta-
I wanted original parts.
Right. Everything custom.
No cement in the trunk. Do you remember when that was a thing for a minute? You honestly believed that if you went up that apartment house stairs and she injected cement in your butt, that was going to turn out good?
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that was even a thing.
Right? So the next question isn't like too crazy. It's the one that, and it always brings me back to actually U of M, among other things. But pictures of the girls I tried to get to play doctor when I was 3 and 4. For some reason, I still have that memory. I've got the tricycle in the other room. It was the sweetest ride in the neighborhood, and I used to use it to pull girls when I was little. This is the story I'm telling, at least. Who knows what really happened? This is my memory. God only knows. But what are your first memories, Calvin? What's the first thing that... Have you been in Atlanta your whole life?
So I was originally born in Boston, and I moved to Atlanta in 2022. I mean, I said 2022, 2002.
2000. That's a big difference. Yeah.
There's a couple minutes difference.
Those twos. Yeah. So you mean like my earliest memory as far as that I can remember in life?
Sure. Back when you were but a wee lad, just trying to figure out the world for your first try. kind of wild, isn't it? It's a place we don't go
Yeah.
often, but it's like
Yeah.
there are pieces of us that are right there at the very beginning. The things we value, the things that maybe hurt, or the things that are like memories that you blow up to a size you spend the rest of your life even trying to get to them.
And you get in a conversation, and it's like, oh snap, this memory was way different than I thought. Okay.
Right. Actually, I like this question. It's making me think right now. So,
I got you.
all right, let's see. So definitely,
See, I knew you were from Boston, though. You sounded like Matt Damon, so I could tell in your voice. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, brother. You're walking.
Yeah. So, I used to go over my grandmother's house a lot in Boston. So,
Okay.
I would walk to school because the school was literally around you'll leave the neighborhood and it was right around the block. So
Okay.
that walk was a solid like 10 minutes. I used to do that all the time with my sister. And my sister is a pretty girl. So I do remember one time just having and this is my older sister. But we was leaving school one day and these dudes was just trying to talk and I'm just like, hey, chill, we're walking home. That's all I said. And I just remember because I was in a rougher area of Boston. I was in Dorchester.
Okay.
And I remember it was like 4 dudes. They was older, looked like high school, maybe graduated or whatever.
Right.
But they came over, and then we just ended up in a little fight. I'm just like, yo, what is going on? So I do remember that, and I was like really, really young too.
So
I was probably like,
so even from an early age, you had kind of that protective gene, that one
Yeah.
that, you know what? No, that's meaningful.
definitely.
Like, I think about it when I hear you talk about young artists too. That all kind of connects in my head now. That you're the guy that goes, no, come on. Our goal here isn't to hold the next guy down. Our goal is to give him a hand the other direction.
Definitely. Yeah, I've noticed I've been definitely a nurturer like my whole life. And I'm not sure if you guys are into, like astrology. I'm not heavily in it, but I do believe a lot of it is factual. I feel a lot of it is factual and makes a lot of sense. Because I'm a Virgo. So Virgos are like earth signs. So we're kind of like the neutral party in a lot of situations. So we'll kind of understand both perspectives. And I always notice I'm in situations to where especially since I'm a producer, so I'm like the guy who's really needed in the room. And then maybe like artists or maybe like musicians. So I've been in several situations where the artist may not like one of the musicians on the song, and I just feel the energy difference. You know how people can just meet for the first time and it's kind of like you're already butting heads and you haven't had a conversation. And I'm the type I automatically be like, oh damn, this guy does not like this guy. They don't even know why yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just kind of like, okay, so let's start a cool conversation. And then I'll notice, because one time, and this happened like rather recent, it was probably like 3 months ago. And it was 2 major people, a major musician and a major artist. And we just stepped outside the studio just to chop it up and talk because one of the other musicians was leaving. And then I'm just like, okay, y'all. Because they was talking, and you know how the conversation clearly is like, is tension in it? It's like they're talking back and forth. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, that's what you're from? Okay, well, now I was talking about this part. It's like,
everybody got blades out
clearly
just making nicks.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you guys are clearly about to fight if this keeps going. So I'm kind of like, all right, y'all, what is going on? Like, clearly there's an awkward energy thing here. I'm like, let's just let it out right quick. Because a lot of times with men that I realize, we just lack communication. So a lot of times people just got to talk about things because the reason people feel like, oh, why don't I feel like I like this guy is because you don't understand something. So like maybe if you talk and realize like maybe what this person just went through or what he's thinking about right now or how he feels, or maybe if you ran into something who does something like you or sounds like you, like it'll be little triggers in humans to where they'll do certain things and it's like, what the hell? Like, why are you acting like that? And it could be something as little as...
Sometimes as soon as you say something is when the pressure releases where you're like, oh snap,
Exactly.
I ain't even realize this was a thing, but it's a thing and I can feel it now. I understand now that this is a thing, like because you just acknowledge that this is something's going on. Like it's like, oh snap, I don't have to feel so angry or however I was feeling because like you just pointed out exactly what's going on.
It's that very perception thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
The reality is
that's his perspective.
The reason I want to see through everybody else's eyes is I've realized I can't trust mine. That all the studies show us that our memory lies to us to make us happy, that the things you see, you put them into a context that makes sense to you based on your experience. And so fight or flight, to save your ass as a caveman, your job, your little, animal brain back there, is to identify everything as either a possible good or a possible bad, so that you're ready to react.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it's not usually based on the person really in front of you.
Right.
Right. That's true.
So, we've talked a little bit about work as work, but in general, like, how would you say you work? How do you work, brother?
How do I work? As in, how do I receive income?
It is a Rorschach test of questions. This is the part that's complicated. However you want to take it, however the question has meaning to you, it kind of directs the way it goes, because this is really your show, and we're just working our way through your head, sharing some bits along the way.
Right. Okay. How do I work? Damn, I love that. So the way I work is, I'm very repetitious, and I enjoy doing things that I love. If I don't love it, I can't even work. So I'm also the type to where, and I don't want that to be to come off as like a stingy or selfish kind of thing. So I'm about to break down what I mean. Because I grew up in a athlete household, because my uncle, he was coach at UConn, or assistant head coach at UConn aside Jim Calhoun, and then he was head coach at George Washington, and then so on and so forth. Now he's at Rutgers. But
okay,
I was in basketball pretty much my whole life, playing like AAU. I played college ball. I could have went overseas, but I was making music the whole time, and I realized music was really keeping me grounded. That was really where the butterfly feeling was drawing me to go. So I didn't like the training aspect at first of basketball, like as far as waking up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, running mountains and miles. So what I do is, if I feel that it's something productive for myself and progressive for myself, I train myself to like the things that most people wouldn't, like the hard work. So I fell in love with waking up early. I fell in love with running. I fell in love with working out, doing things like that. So I can do things like basketball, which was my passion. So the way I work is consistently doing the things that's going to make me better at what I love to do. So since music is what I love to do, for instance, right, I'm at the studio right now. So every single day I wake up, I get in the stock market, because I'm also an options day trader. So I trade and until about 4 p.m. And then after that, immediately I'm eating my cooked meal of the day, because I'm also vegan. So I have like a smoothie beginning of the day, eat some fruit, and then I have one cooked meal, and then I'll head straight to the studio. And then I'm just working on new production, or I'm in the studio session with an artist. And I'm just mastering my craft pretty much every day. So the way I work is being consistent and also keeping my health up to par, so I can continue to work.
So you value
it.
That's no, I love the answer. Yeah, so go ahead.
That's really meaningful, that you take the time to love the things that you should, like, to love the things that are hard to do, as opposed to the things that you love to do,
Love the process, not the destination.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's really that literally that exact statement is what I always used to think of. Like, so, okay, what is the point of it? Like, what is the point? And I always hated being like, okay, I need to get there, because then it felt like it was always a waiting game. And I'm like, wait a second, let me just enjoy this wait or whatever. And that's when I was like, oh, it's a journey. That's really the fun part. It's not the destination. Because at the end of the day, the destination is dictated by the journey. So I was like, okay, so instead of being lazy or feeling like, oh, let me hurry up and get there, or rushing through things, I was like, I need to do this like efficiently as possible, which is the journey, or the working every day, or the getting up early, working on different sessions. Because like, if I was just worried about maybe getting a production deal, because at one point I was like, oh, I need to get signed to a major label and all this and that. And now it's like, I know what they do. So I realized I can take what major labels and what I thought my end goal was and really put it in my own hands. It's just the artist wasn't aware of the knowledge that the labels had. And of course they have connections and then big capital and things like that, which of course, is always an advantage. But with today's world, you don't need a crazy capital to really get where you're trying to go. And as far as what I do, so I just fell in love with going hard, being consistent, posting content, and networking, because really word to mouth and your network is your net worth. And that statement been told me when I was young, and I really see why more and more, like every day pretty much. And when you know the right people, it can really get you in doors that even money or your skills can't get you in.
Being a good person will get you a lot further in life than having skills. I think.
Absolutely, and that is another fact. Yeah,
I always remember.
Even my mentor.
Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just gonna say, because I have a couple mentors. Rocky Williford, which is like the CEO of Black Cool, which is like a lifestyle brand. He actually was the investor of T.I.'s label.
Wow. Okay.
He's just taught me a lot of things, like as far as, because I remember asking him one day, and I felt like he was a dickhead when he first told me this, but I thought about it later, and I was like, oh wow, you're a wise dude. So because I met him actually at LA Fitness, which is crazy, because like I said, I go to the gym a lot, so he just had like a little stand there, and it had shirts on it, and then just different like little attires and merchandise. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like the color. I like the color scheme.
Right.
And once again, this goes back to what you just said, how being a good person can get you a lot further. Because if I didn't stop, because he even told me, he's like, hey, Cal, if you didn't stop and like do this and like have this conversation, he's like, I can tell you was a good person from as soon as you stopped at the table. And then that's when he was like, hey, you mind helping me bringing my stuff back to my car? And I'm like, okay, cool.
Meaningful.
So I helped him bring his stuff back, and then we're bringing his stuff, like a table and all the merch. We brought it back to a Maybach, and I was like, whoa. I was like, wait a second, huh? And he's like, yeah. So I'm Rocky Williford, da-da-da-da-da. He was like, hey, I really like your energy, man. He was like, yo, so you said you make music, right? He was like, let's go on a ride one day. I want to listen to your stuff. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Mind you, he's just in there acting regular. He didn't say he was this millionaire, da-da-da.
Right.
I was just having a good conversation with him. He was like, a lot of people really, like, shunned me and turned me down when I told him to come through. I just want to show him some things. He was like, you came on your own and this and that. So one day when he picked me up, we was in like this Rolls Royce with the stars. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So at some point while we're riding, I was like, yo, so what is like your secret to success? Like, what got you all this? He was like, love is the key, man. Love is the key. And that's all he said. The whole ride, I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just play the next song. And then 2 months later, and this is crazy because I knew, like, of course, like, love is good. Love is good. Like, come on, right. We all know that. But when he said that, it really hit me 2 months later when I was in the studio session and I took shrooms for the first time in my life. I know y'all probably would start, but
no, I understand what you're saying. I know where this is going. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got
a lot of people take that.
You're saying you're a fun guy.
Nah,
or they're like, they really understand. Because people who take shrooms, I feel they understand. Because I feel that's one thing that, try it when you're younger, I guess. But I feel that's something we all should try at least once in our lifetime, because you really tap in.
I tried it at
yourself.
18, man. It was awesome, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it. It opened my mind to some things that I feel like I never would have experienced had I just been like a.
Let's find out what Calvin found out. But I think
what'd you find out?
We should all. You know what? We'll do a music show with you, but then we'll do a fun guy show. We'll sit around and tell stories.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now tell us what you were gonna say, brother. So what'd you find that day from the random fungus?
Right. So this random fungus that I took. So I took it. I was in the middle of a studio, like literally in the middle of a session, and I'm on the board, like I'm manhandling the whole session. And mind you, there's like 12 people in the studio at this time, and these are all like major songwriters, major artists, and musicians. Yeah, so like, you know what I mean? It's fun. It's not like pressure, but it's fun. And it was an important session. But because, you know, I've been in the position, I'm not like looking at it as pressure. But yes, technically it is pressure.
But it's like jazz. You gotta be aware of what's going on around you, and you gotta make sure you're hitting your button when it's time.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's jazz.
Absolutely. Like I can't just be up there tripping and be like, okay guys, I'm actually tripping, can't do this anymore. Like you can't do that. But so long story short, I went to the bathroom because I started feeling like, whoa, I feel it. So I went to the bathroom just to step away. And then I looked in the mirror, and I after the fact, of course, I heard you shouldn't look in the mirror when you do it, but I did. And then I seen myself pass away. I know it sounds crazy, but I legit seen that, and I started crying. So I went back in the studio, and I was literally just crying. And then there was this dude named District Kurt, who's a great songwriter. He wrote for so many majors like Usher, freaking a lot of people. But he whispered in my ear. He was like, "Hey, Cal," he was like, "Trust me, you did not die. He was like, that was the death of your old ways. He was like, that was the death of your ego. I didn't even tell him anything yet. I'm just like, what in the world? Like, it was kind of like he was an angel.
He knew.
But long story short, okay, that fast forwarded. So there was two things. First, I seen a guy in there who actually put me on with options trading, which changed my life, by the way, because I made like $60,000 in 3 months off option trading, and I like never worked a job again since. But
nice.
The guy who put me on with option trading.
Okay.
So the guy who put me on with options trading, he turned into a snake in the studio. So I was like, wait a second. Like after I'm like, okay, I know they say you can see things, but it was really weird. And I was like, okay, wow, I feel that means something, because he always kind of gave me a jealous, envious vibe anyway. But it was never like straight up proof of it to where I can be like, yo, man, I don't really rock with energy like that no more. So like, we gotta, because he was literally like my brother. Like he met my parents, he met my son, like my woman, like everything. So I'm thinking this is my boy. So months later, well, literally right after that session, I texted my direct friend from the session. I was like, hey man, I don't know what happened, but after I took that, Rico turned into a snake. I just used a random name, Rico. I don't want to say his name.
No, you're straight. That's perfect.
Perfect.
I text my friends that, and I was all like, yo, turn into a snake. I was like, I'm not sure exactly, but I feel like we're going to fall out or something's going to happen, and he's going to be sneaky and try to tell y'all something, and I'm not going to be able to get in touch or something like that. I didn't know what exactly it meant, but I just felt this. And literally 6 months later, he got my album taken off of all, because I released instrumental albums to all streaming platforms under like Genius Art and Afro Genius. So he got my album taken down off all platforms. Mind you, I have music in like different like movies, commercials, and just different things. So when the project got taken down, a lot of people hit me up. It was like, hey man, like
what happened?
It's not up there no more. Da, 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 da. Like people are using this on like certain playlists and lobbies, like even at the Porsche Hotel by the airport in Atlanta.
Oh, so you were like all set up and everything, and that just like
How'd he get the takedown?
Yeah, and then he jacked it up. So what he did was, because he was on his vocals, because I'm not gonna lie, and this is how God will work. Like he'll throw people in your life who's like can be your best friend, because he fools you. And it'll be like, he made music, he put me on with options, and it's like you think everything's perfect, but the whole time he was very envious and whatnot. But the reason he was even able to get it taken down is because he actually was on the project. And so because he was on the project, one day he just got mad and got envious, and then he just decided, you know what, since I'm on here, let me hit up my lawyer or whatever, and just tell him, no, I don't want my stuff on there no more. So I'm going to have him take it down. So legally he was able to do it because we didn't have in writing, mind you, because this is like my best friend.
Right, that's your homie.
It's like you wouldn't expect that. So it's like, and so he got it taken down, which was crazy. So I ended up missing out on a lot of just different opportunities because of that. And also I released another song for this artist named Bashir, and he's like a big time upcoming artist right now. Nice. And there was this other girl named Lulu Vibes. I produced 3 tracks on her project. And when he got my project taken down, I released it through this distribution company called DistroKid. So when he got it taken down, it red flagged my account, and I couldn't even receive royalties from the new big artist that I just produced the track for.
God. So did it release eventually, crazy. At least?
Yeah. So what I had to do was, and this was like very fortunate, because I finally was able to call DistroKid, because DistroKid, they have like this weird like exclusive kind of thing to where you really can't get on the phone with them. You got to do everything through email, which is stupid. But I finally was able to get in contact, and all they told me was pretty much they'll allow me to make another account and put in my royalty code for those 2 artists so I can receive royalties from them, but it's just in another account. So that's okay now. It's just a little extra work now, but at least I'm receiving it finally.
At least it's coming through.
It's just the fact of, well, and mind you, this is just one part. I really wasn't expecting to say this part, but this is the one part that the shrooms did. Like it really it shows you auras, and it tells you like energies, because even after that, I seen my son, and he was literally like, it was like a little light around him. And at the time, he was like 4 years. He was like 4 years old, 4.5. So, and I think that light was, of course, innocence, because I noticed in other friends or other people, it was darker. Like some people was darker around them, and like we really do have aura and energy around us that we uphold. So when people say, "Oh, that girl's glowing over there," like literally, people do have high auras, and you can tell.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of crazy.
We're creatures of energy. That science tells us that. It's kind of interesting when you think about chakras. the new discovery is that there's neural tissue in these different spots in our body, right? So in other words, bits
Yeah.
that take electricity, guess where they're at?
The chakras.
It's your
Right.
chakras. How they
Yep.
identified that was where the other electrical stuff was going on, I don't know. But hey, there's this amazing thing that goes on as the information kind of comes together, and
Yeah.
so for me, like, when I think about the snakes in my past, and don't get me wrong, there were some snakes. There was a moment that I had similarly explored that had gotten me there, that was very much the realization that all of those pieces, good, bad, or indifferent, I could look back on as amazing miracles, because it's the piece that they all brought me here.
Right.
And here's the only place I can be anyways. But
Yeah.
you know what? If you hadn't met the snake, you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
it's life's an amazing mixed bag.
Yeah,
And I mean,
life is a weird thing.
Right.
we've almost kind
It
of
is, man.
talked on how you play, maybe, but it sounds like you mix the two. But how do you play, brother?
Yeah. How do I play?
How do you play?
That's a. Ooh, I like that question. So. So once again, how do I play? It has to be a mentally stimulating feeling for me. So the way I play is also creating. I'm not gonna lie, because one thing with my
Right.
job, I love it. So I play by creating, hanging out with loved ones, genuine loved ones. Because a good quote that always stuck with me as well is, "Find your tribe, and you will thrive."
Absolutely.
And I really feel I found that. Like, I have my solid people that's around me consistently, and we're constantly throwing ideas and creating and building to a bigger purpose. So the way I play is making money in the stock market, making money in music, also just creating, period. Like, just creating new, bringing things from thin air, whether it's a thought or whatever, just bringing thoughts to life. That's how I play. I'm not big on going out to clubs. I usually only go out to like lounges and all that if I'm invited, or if I'm actually either getting paid or going to like support a friend.
You gotta be there for
something
people.
like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be there for people. So things like that is fun. Hear my music come out the speakers at an event. That's
right.
pretty fun. Also play by doing things like going hiking, working out, and then just, making love to my lady, things like that.
Right? Well, you know what?
It sounds like you mix play and work pretty well. Like you have a pretty nice balance of those two.
Definitely.
I think that's the goal.
Playful.
I think the real goal is, I mean, there's one more question in the triad that answers all these questions.
Right.
But I think the real goal in life is getting all three of them together.
Yes.
That, how do you work? How do you play?
And then, how do you pray? So how do you pray?
Wow. And this literally all goes back. And just quick sidebar, it's so funny because right before this interview, I just made a post on Instagram and I said, the caption was like, "Who said work isn't supposed to be fun?" That's literally the caption. But
That's perfect.
How do I pray? So I love that. All right, so first, literally through music, and that's why I really feel music is so special to me, because I'm more so spiritual than religious.
Touches the divine.
Divine. I absolutely believe in God and a higher power, but I also believe in ancestors, like people watch, angels watching over me and giving me support. So I believe when I make music, because I'm also big on frequency, so I actually set my beats to certain hertz, which would affect certain chakras. So literally, most times I go into tracks with an intention. I'll be like, you know what? I'm feeling kind of down. Let me do something that'll help out my heart chakra, something that's healing for that.
Right.
So I literally have because I also have an altar in my home studio, because I have two buildings. One in Norcross, which is North Georgia, and then one in Tara Boulevard, which is South Georgia, Time Matter Studio, and then UED Studio. So my home studio, that's literally kind of like my my spiritual sanction. So that's literally like my prayer place. So while creating music, I give thanks. Like I say, thank you God for even allowing me to be able to create. I sometimes cry through music. while I'm creating, it's like I'm getting every emotion out. So like by the time I leave the studio, I literally prayed. It's like I did yoga, I had a meditation. So it's like I did everything.
Isn't it amazing? And when you're so last week we didn't have a bunch of these scheduled. You know what? I'm just like everybody else. Deal with anxiety about this or the other thing from time to time. But I literally looked at Ross and I said, "Dude, I got to get more interviews scheduled." That it's my prayer.
Yeah.
That you know what, my belief in what I'm doing on this planet is over and over again going, "Have you met my friends?" Until the whole damn thing's covered. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. That you know what, at this point, you know what, we haven't interviewed anybody in Antarctica yet, but I'm working on it. It's the only continent I haven't hit at this point.
Oh wow!
I tell you what,
that's amazing.
I tell you what, I get a certain amount of prayer out of this, like talking to people and stuff like that, because it kind of gives me guidelines for what are other humans doing. Like I want to know what other humans are doing, not to give myself another way of doing things, but to just figure out, okay, what are other people focusing on? Because maybe I'm not focusing on the right things. Maybe I need to figure out what to focus on. So I feel like I get a good amount of reflection from just doing these interviews and talking to people. And like, dude, you have it seems like you have a really, really good mixture of work, play, and pray. Like, and I have to figure that out. Like that mix of just
it's the why I needed more interviews. Because for me, I see the divine, the universe in all living things. I learned from the puppies, the axolotl, the koi, the tortoise.
Yeah, we got some animals here. It's basically as if
the 9-year-old, when the 3-year-old's here, and you know what, he's like, "Can't we just go play out in the rain?"
Right.
Dude, that's teacher level information right there.
Really
don't bypass that stuff. And that
seriously,
that I feel that connection. And when I'm in an interview with you, Calvin, with the people we talk to, with my puppies, I feel connected to the universe.
Yeah.
It's just like that moment when the music is, you can feel it, and you and the universe are right there.
They're in sync.
Co-creating.
You're together.
Don't care what you call it. You don't have to put a name to it. We don't have to fight about what name it is. You can feel it. And when I do this, like right now, dude, I can feel it. And it's the best feeling in the... it's amazing. I didn't know that we were going to pull this off, doing this interviews this way. I've always believed in looking deep into people's eyes and trying to see them and trying to hear them.
Yeah.
But to be blown away over and over again
by voices. Yeah.
Resonance, brother.
Yeah, man. Nah, seriously, like, this is, and everything you just said, I 100% agree and feel the exact same as far as just being connected when doing things like this. Like, even going to the store, how you even said, if a kid would be like going outside and playing in the rain, don't bypass that. Like, I feel that so much. Even when it comes to just conversations with random people in stores. Like, even the other day, this lady, because I have friends, even just people I know who are just real standoffish. Like, yo, when I go outside, I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not da-da-da-da. I'm just going out and coming back in. Like, they're literally freaking like evil geniuses and don't do anything as far as connecting with people. So this lady came up to me and she was like, "Hey, I heard you. I know this may sound kind of weird. I heard you on the phone and you said you're a producer. So I have this son, da-da-da." And off rip, I was like, wow, a lot of people responded just like, what the hell? Like, lady, first off, that's weird for doing this. And then you're just trying to put me on. Like, I just know friends who were really like, nah, sorry, I don't got time, and then walk off. Like, I literally was interested and happy that she was listening to my conversation. It was weird. So now I was like, so immediately I'm thinking like, whoa, who is your son? I feel like we're going to make something special. Like, that's immediately what I'm thinking.
Right.
And so as soon as she said, oh, my son, da-da-da, she told me his name. she didn't even show me a picture or nothing. She was like, oh, I want you to hear some of his music. And then she played me like 30 seconds because we was in the middle of a parking lot, literally in the middle of the street. She was beeping at us, and I was like, okay, let's get over here. And then like she really respected me for that, because she thought I was gonna be like, okay, I know you got to go. I was like, no, let me hear a little more. So I kind of like his flow. So she let me hear it, and next thing you know, we exchanged numbers, and she gives her son my number, and then he hits me up the next day and is like, hey, bro, my mom said your production name's Genius Art, and you got a studio. I'm a producer and an artist. I love to work with you. So immediately, I just like, yo, what are you up to right now? I'm at my home studio, and I got a pretty nice studio. Right. Once again, I be feeling everything. Nothing is a coincidence. Like, everything happens for a reason. So the fact that his mother was on it like that, first, I have crazy respect for her.
W mom, by the way.
Well, the universe puts stuff there that if your eyes are open,
if you're paying attention,
the universe will just drop stuff.
Yeah.
I always so we make our cube reference, because you know how like a good day I didn't have to use my AK. Our big thing is my thing. I'm not gonna throw that whole ambient knowledge thing on Ross. Ambient knowledge. The knowledge that's constant. Every moment you're in is a moment no one has ever been in before. You are in a new place you've never been.
Yep.
And so you got to have your AK ready, your ambient knowledge. You got to be soaking it all up, or you'll miss something.
Yeah.
It was. I realized one day that it wasn't whether or not the day was good.
It was whether or not you noticed
whether or not I took note.
Right.
That you know what? It could be a good day, and if I wasn't paying attention, I might miss it.
Right.
As opposed to, you know what? Keeping your head on a swivel and going, damn, there's some shit going on around here.
Right. Yeah, seriously.
Well, you're right. Ross is giving me that look of we're running long. What do you love, brother? We're on question 6 if you're keeping track.
Okay. So, wow, everything is pretty much just intertwined. So I love working out. I love eating good. I love just stimulating my body with high vibrational stimulating things. Like I put sea moss in my smoothies. I love spending quality time with my son, like doing things like running out in the rain, because I actually did that with him the other day, which is so funny.
Right?
He just wanted to just stay outside while we was playing. I was like, okay, you know what, let's do it. I'll just take my shoes off. Let's just
it's
get wet.
It's a powerful memory, isn't it? Like, you get out there and you're like, man, damn, why aren't we doing this more often?
Man,
exactly. Exactly.
Need to be
nothing
jumping
like
in
a day in
puddles.
the rain, just having fun.
Yeah, man. Like, and people sleep on those kind of moments. It's like people would drive by like, yo, these people are crazy, and it's like these are really the most memorable, like, loving. Like, I know that's a moment he's gonna forever remember, and then every time it rains, he's gonna just think of that. Like, that's and even while doing it, I'm like, wow, you're gonna remember it's raining, because I'd be having thoughts of myself being younger and remembering, oh, on this thunderstorm, me and my uncle had this cool conversation in the backyard. Like, I just remember things like that. So it's exciting putting memories like that in my son's head, and even just people around me. Like, I love, like, conversations like this. A lot of people would even be standoffish or maybe not go as deep as I would, but I like going deep, because then people are more responsive. It's like, oh, okay, you was vulnerable, da-da-da. And then that's how we're really able to reflect, because it's like we both just share something personal. Now maybe we can learn something and be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm going to look at it from that perspective.
Real communication.
We both just put our hearts on the line and really just let it all out there. So it's like we can connect as people because we did that, you know?
Exactly. And then it's like at the end of that, it feels just refreshing or releasing or just whatever. It's like you gain something. And that's what I like. I love gaining. You know, I love gaining. And that could be, I love gaining progressive things. Like, so I'm gonna leave that as my answer. I love gaining. Whether it's money, I love gaining abundance. Anything positive, I love gaining.
That man's a stacker. Yeah. Give him some rocks. He'll probably, I've seen pictures, he'll stack them. You know, he'll stack them. He's a stacker, that one. You know, he likes to stack things.
Yeah, I'm definitely a stacker.
Well, man, some of the, as you were saying that, I mean, some of the most powerful things I've learned in the last 9 years now of raising a grandson, almost 10, he's taught me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's taught me. That it started off, he was learning how to walk, and it was getting perspective on seeing the world at that speed. like with an awe, you know, and a wonder that I'd forgotten. I mean, I was a man in my 40s. It wasn't like I was planning on raising more kids at that moment.
Yeah. That's real.
Saved my ass. I ain't gonna lie. Learned so much from him. You know what? I was meditating on that. We got new puppies. That's why puppies keep coming up. Sorry about that. Oh, they're so cute, man.
Yeah, that's
they're boxer. They're half boxer, half bulldog, man. They're gonna be the. Oh man. Anyways.
Oh wow.
I was meditating on the idea that I've got this friend in Vietnam that I take some classes with. She's always, meditation is non-distraction. And so, man, I was watching puppies chase bees and concentrate on sticks. And I thought, damn, that's some focus. I need to work on what I got going. You know, even the puppies, you know? So, you love to gain. What do you fear?
I fear not doing everything that I wanted or wished to do. I fear not trying. I fear not taking that leap of faith because I'm a huge risk taker. And I've seen both sides. I've seen the wins and then I've seen the lessons side. So, honestly fear just not completing certain visions as well. So not taking that jump and then not completing maybe the jump.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's whole ass or no ass, no half ass. That's for sure.
Right.
You got it. You got to either go or not go.
Either going or not going.
I know that as I'm getting older, it's what if I waited too long? What if I found my path at 50? Which is true. Well, not to go back to fungus and what it can do to you. I had one of those nights where I was on purpose going to straight up argue with God. I was tired of the fight. I was done with it. I was not. The universe was beating me down.
Yeah.
Man, that stuff's powerful. 2 minutes later, I came out laughing my ass off, realizing how big my goddamn ego was, and what was I thinking? The universe had time to be fighting with me.
Right.
You know what? I always joke. It's like, why would God have time to deal with my problems? You know what? He's got so many football games to decide on a Friday night. There's no way I even make the list. All those prayers, man.
Exactly. Wow. That's so crazy to say that. Because I feel a lot of people they feel that, and then it kind of makes them project hate, whether it's hate for themselves, people around them, or God or whatever, maybe the belief system. If people really dig deep, because that's something I struggle. I was like, yo, am I not important? Where's my prayer answers? You know what I mean? Say stuff like that. It's like, yo,
God's on our side.
Anyone who's angry at the universe, anyone who's angry at the universe or angry at God or whatever or whatnot, anyone who has that much hatred for that, it's gotta be on the inside. It's gotta be that you don't like yourself that much.
It was it was you all along.
It's you all along.
It was you,
It was you all the way down.
Right.
And that's what just like how we was talking about this life is just a big jumbled bag of just madness, but it's still beautiful because that's also what makes the balance. We need those, you know what I mean? We need the hateful people. We need the light people because that's the yin yang, the guy knew what he was doing. So it's it takes people like us who've been through that and kind of realize it's really not about our egos. We got to really kill that and realize. And that's also another reason I say ancestors. I believe in giving thanks to ancestors really because those are kind of our direct people floating over us, since God does have a bigger mission.
And we all share all of them.
We all have
the same ancestors. If
you go back far enough, we're all related.
This is a tree.
We all are, exactly. So it's they're right there automatically, you know what I mean, puppet stringing us, and then God is just at the top of it all.
You think dogs are inbred? Just look at humans, man.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Right? Look at us. We look very similar if you look at us, man.
My original solution to racism as a young man. And it seemed like the most logical answer to me.
Yeah.
Let's keep screwing till we're gray. I mean, I don't know if you've seen those biracial kids. They're really beautiful children. Let's just keep going till it's all one thing.
Right.
Keep mixing a little bit of that and a little bit of
Line
that.
up as many ladies of a variety that you. No, never mind. That's wrong.
Man.
That's wrong. But to some extent, you know, it's like, and then you embrace the idea that I wouldn't want to lose a single different perspective. That so as I become obsessed with seeing through everybody else's eyes, I have this theory that I spout off often currently about the African proverb of the three blind mice, where they're all, you know, grabbing a hold of an elephant, and their perspective and their realities, though totally real, don't give any evidence to the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
One thinks it's a snake, one thinks it's a tree trunk, one thinks it's a log, I think.
I don't know, something.
It's something like that.
The blind mice are confused, as blind mice
they're all
often are.
confused, and they don't realize that they're all describing the same thing.
But in this particular story in Africa, the mice do get to keep their tails, which is far better than what happens to them in Europe, where they take the tails off.
Okay.
That's what happened to those three other blind mice. But these three blind mice, just like us, all have a perspective that's real. What if we all have a piece? What if the reason it's so hard to see clearly is because
we all know something.
We're not listening to each other.
Right.
So tell me, what do you know?
What do I know? I know a little bit of a lot, and a lot of bit of some things. I know how to make healing music. I know how to spread good energy. I know how to be uplifting. I know how to eat. I definitely know how to eat.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Right.
Dude, you're a shaman.
That's what I said to her.
You're a shaman.
Say that again?
You're a shaman. That when you think about it, like when you look, we've stepped away from meaningful traditions. Like, it's hard to go get a job as a shaman these days. It's hard to go get a job as a philosopher, and it doesn't pay very well to be a teacher. And these are the three things we need most.
Right, that's crazy.
2 jobs we're not even given anymore.
Yeah, that's literally ridiculous. And it's funny you say that, because I'm actually an audio production teacher at a private performing arts school. I do like audio production classes. I'm kind of like an elective teacher, so I only have to go from like 1 to 3, and like there's certain students who come to my class for the 2 hours, and there's 2 different periods.
That's powerful.
But yeah, the pay, I definitely wasn't doing it for the pay. I was doing it strictly for, just the vibes and just the opportunity, because Divine Stevens, he's one of my mentors, and he actually is the owner of the school. It's called the Divine Stevens Academy, or Camp Jewel House. And he pretty much blessed me with the opportunity, because I actually, right before COVID, I was in Canada, in Winnipeg, and I was at an audio, actually not an audio, but a performing arts school. And I had like a ceremony up there where pretty much the teacher invited me to make music and do an audio production class for them for the whole week. And they paid me pretty nice to do that. So what I was literally about to start doing was going to different schools, doing pretty much
doing
spending
a week
there, and trying to get like an audio production program in each of their schools, because there's a lot of kids. Because I know even in my high school we had band and we had like chorus or whatever, but there wasn't like a studio to where kids can record their ideas or their thoughts and literally send it to themselves, to the point where maybe if they're riding on the bus home, they're listening to the MP3 of those 3 tracks they made in class today. And I feel like that's super cool, because I remember after band class, I would literally go home and practice on what I did, and I would listen to it and bring it to my band. I was like, yo, look what I made with that stuff we learned yesterday. They'd be like, oh, okay. So like, imagine if we could just go home and we all rode home with it. So I kind of felt like they would all look up to me like, yo, you got a studio? So like my whole band class was trying to get in my studio. And I was like, yo, we need to have the studio in the band class. Like, what in the world? Like, because it was to the point where literally the whole tuba section was trying to, I'm like, yo, we all cannot be in my house. Like, there's no way we can fit in my room. Like, there's no way.
our,
So
our motto
yeah,
is make noise be heard.
Yeah.
And our goal
I love that.
is to create a space where people feel secure and safe enough
To make noise.
to make their noise
and be heard.
and to be heard.
Yep,
We're
I love that.
actually a home studio ourselves. It's pretty fun to see people come in here and open up and
Yeah.
feel comfortable enough to be themselves and to fully express themselves the way that they need to, you know? It feels
Yeah, definitely.
it feels like amazing.
There are moments,
Right.
and don't get me wrong, I'm the old white guy turned around at the computer, like working while these guys are like just throwing out what they're doing. And don't get me wrong, my job's to be the untrained ear that occasionally goes, "Ooh, what if we dub that up? What if we, and I see pieces
Yeah.
because I got ears."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm here for the vibe,
Yeah.
the energy when we all connect. If you see, there's a fun thing up called What that we did.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to send
You
you
should send him that.
Yeah.
It's just silly. It's just so we try to spend a certain amount of time, and even before the music parts of what we're doing started to be present, we actually even scheduled more time then. We'd schedule about 16 hours a week of the time that we think of as available for people to just be able to, freestyle, work together, try and just everybody coming together to make music.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that vibe is just, it's like you said, somebody will come in with a piece. There's another one, Do You Feel Our Energy, where it was funny because they end up going 4 turns on the hook, but it was Ross and our buddy Certified Knight, and they didn't quite know whether or not they were going to stop. So dude, that dance was so powerful because one would start back up and then the other one would come back in, and then they'd kind of fault. But it meant that as much as they were singing it together, there was like this, and it's Do You Feel My Energy? So it was kind of why you could feel it. You know how that is?
Yeah.
You're in the room and you're just like, damn. It just feels so, it's like this. I'm not going to lie, I have that same feeling doing what we're doing right now with you, Calvin.
I do too.
That, what do you wish you knew?
Ooh, yeah, these questions, I freaking love these questions.
Thank you.
What I wish I knew. Ooh, that's deep. So, I actually so realistically, I probably don't wish this. But me just being a Virgo super critical, I'm one who, I just like to know things,
I got you.
I would like to know everything.
Me too. I totally understand that explanation.
I get it.
I believe I don't know anything and that I'll never really have a grasp of anything, but man, I wish.
If I could know everything or nothing at all, that's the best.
Did you ever see that movie Paul where the alien lands and then he touches the set? It isn't set that. He touches somebody and all of a sudden he gives them all the knowledge of the universe and they just like fall back flat on their ass.
Yeah, it's like you really don't wish that, but
you don't wish it, but you do.
But you do, yeah. So that's one thing that I wish, but I can be more specific and something I actually would actually love to actually happen and wish I did know. I wish. Oh, now because see, even this conversation is making me reflect. I actually don't wish to see the probably, but I wish I didn't make certain decisions in life. But then again, it's kind of like if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I am.
You wouldn't be here.
But
right.
Yeah, So I might have to retract that.
It's one of those weird, powerful thoughts. I had to give up, like looking back on. Okay, I was supposed to go to a 6-year PhD program at the University of Miami of Florida to study marine biology. That's 6 years, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, 6 years. I looked at my dad and I said, I want to paint and I want to write. And he, being the good bohemian that he had once dreamed of being, said, I understand. And so now that I'm 50, I've started writing a little bit. I draw more than I paint, but I will say that when I claimed that at 18, it didn't happen for another 32 friggin' years.
Yeah. Right. And there's a reason for that, That doesn't
Right?
even mean it's too late. You have to get whatever knowledge to start being able to do it now. And that's what I had to realize too, because if I did wish that, like, I would have probably got another lesson instead of what I thought I would have got from it. So,
Right?
yeah.
Some of the best advice I ever got, I don't remember who said it, but I was feeling really down on myself, and I was like, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, I wish I did this, and someone was like, but you didn't. So you can't do anything about it. Like,
you got a DeLorean?
You know?
No.
No, you don't. And I was like,
Right.
I had to sit there for a second and be like, dang, you know what? You're right. I didn't. So I can't there's no use going back over it and feeling bad,
Man,
Well-
that statement resonates with my life too much right now, especially because I do trade options. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with option trading, but
I
you
understand.
can make a lot of money. So it's like
New York's got the best casino, man. But as long as you know where you're walking.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Because literally almost every trade, which is almost every day, I'm literally like, wow, if I held that longer, or so I would have made 5,000 more. You know what I mean? This is something crazy. It's like, but you really gotta cut your losses or cut your wherever it's at. Because like
All
you said,
ass,
but you didn't. And
no ass,
Yeah.
never half ass.
Hauling
Exactly.
ass.
Yeah. And then I have my friend who also trades, and he's always like, but bro, you did it. And I'm just like, wow, okay. And it's kind of like you want to push him off a cliff when he says that, but then it's like, yo, you're absolutely right.
My big thing is, you know what? If you paid for the lesson, you might as well learn how to play piano.
Right?
Ooh, exactly. That's how I feel about things. That's
you
how I
know-
feel about everything.
Right? I was there. I could sit here and gripe about it, or I can learn.
Exactly. Yep.
I've always said when you suddenly find speed bumps in your life, it's probably the universe telling you it's time to slow down, and it's a good chance you need to get your notebook out because you're probably moving into a school zone.
Right. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that saying. I'm gonna have to use that.
So we're up to the final question, the most difficult of them all. Why are you here?
So I believe I'm here. Well, first off,
Yeah.
okay. Multiple reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
Why I'm here is almost for the journey to figure out all the questions asked, to put in perspective for myself all the questions you guys just asked, what I wish or what I want to know, what I need to know. I also feel I'm here, like I said, for when you said what I love to do. I feel I'm here to shed my light, have these kind of conversations with people, because I do believe we're all vessels, and just like everything happens for a reason. I feel, because there's been conversations with people saved my life, or just gave me certain insight to where it changed my life for even how I moved and started doing things. And I felt me receiving that knowledge, I was able to give it to other family, friends, or whoever, random people, and then it changed their way of thinking. Because there's so many times where people would hit me up, even on the music aspect, and this lady literally messaged me the other day and was like, wow, like I was literally on the brink of like suicide, and I listened to you, I really feel healed. I'm just crying right now. I just wanted to say thank you, and please continue making music. And I never met her from a can of paint. She was in Germany. She just messaged me, and I'm just like, whoa. So it's like, I feel I'm here to be me, and whatever my vessel is here to do and shed and spread and this and that, like, that's why I'm here.
That's beautiful.
That's amazing, yeah.
I like to think that the real walk. So like, they always talk about when the student is ready, the master will appear. I'm of the belief that when the master is ready, the student will appear. Not in the sense, and I don't think of it as outside of me.
Yeah.
I think of that when there should be a point where everything is learning and everything is teaching.
Yeah.
They're two legs on the same dude. I guess I don't know I don't know why that's how that came out.
Yeah, I love this.
That's two legs on the same dude, I believe. I hear chicken have two wings. That's what I'm saying. What?
What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
Right?
I don't even know sometimes. That's the joy of it, though. That's why I love what I'm doing. I used to drive truck, brother. I'm telling you, I've had I've always loved, though, the part that was communicating. That whether it was I was traveling all over the country, and I had a job where I would like stay in a place for a day and then come back home, and that I loved the part where I got to interact with people and try and see them, be present. I've always felt that meaningfully.
Yeah, same.
Yes, my grandson looks at me as well when we're out and goes, "You talk to everybody."
Right. And I always been real talkative too, because I feel I'm definitely like an old soul. Because even there was a point where I remember I was never like, that's weird. Like, I was never like, why do you talk to everybody? I was just, because I have a lot of aunts and just uncles who was also like that. And I would notice it was more so my aunts and uncles who was very talkative. And I go out, my cousins, they wasn't as talkative. And I noticed, I guess when you have a certain kind of way about yourself, it is really pleasing to like really go out there and just converse with random people. It's like, I feel we all should come to a space where it all is about learning and just teaching and sharing the knowledge. And being younger, I was like, wow, okay, they just have more wisdom and they're wanting and willing to share that. And then I noticed with my cousins, it's kind of like they're more so secluded and, not really as open. And I was always wondering, like, I just always noticed that. So I always would follow what the older folks was doing, my older influences. And then I started doing it young. Mm-hmm. And I even noticed my friends like, yo, why are you so talkative? Da, 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 da. And it's like, wow, I see why, they was doing this. Like, you really learn a lot. Like, being talkative, like, and that goes right back to your network is your network, because even if you're not getting it to gain something in the physical world, like as far as, oh, this person you may meet may get you this deal or this money or whatever, like, they can teach you something or tell you something or something you can just pass on. And
everybody
you get to
knows
that certain
something
level of thinking that
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's
everybody,
like,
the
7
smallest
billion
kid.
brains. So
yeah.
Well, if I were like trying to make like the ultimate self-replicating carbon-based quantum computer system,
yeah.
The first thing I would notice about our 7.5 billion quantum computers is they're not working well together.
Right.
But I'm telling you, they're connected, and I'm just trying to show the world that we're already all connected. I'm not trying to connect people. I'm not trying to teach people. I'm not trying to do any of those things. Everybody already knows. Yeah. We're already all connected. It's just whether or not we can open our eyes to it. Yeah, whether or not we see each other. My big thing is people as people before they're anything else always. Now, I never look into somebody's eyes as money. Now, to our detriment, as Ross will mention, I'm not willing to talk to anybody about money. That doesn't go well for nonprofits.
I'm willing to talk to people about money.
But that George Carlin said that you could look into the depths of anyone's eyes and see the universe. If you take the time.
I agree with that.
On that, you hold there. I'm going to kick us out over here.
Do you have anything to plug?
I always forget.
It's
I get so moved by the process.
Do you have anything to plug before we get up out of here?
What would you like to sell, sir?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I guess the first thing, I guess my Instagram. My Instagram is official Genius Art. Everything spelled regular. So official and then GENIUSART. That's my Instagram.
Okay.
And also, as far as on all platforms, if you guys ever want to listen to some great instrumentals, even compilation albums, I have about 7 to 8 instrumental albums out that I released. So if you type in Genius Art, GENIUSART, and that's 2 separate words on any platform, Apple, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, etc. Amazon is on there. And then also Afro Genius, and that's AFRO Genius space Genius. That's my band. So whenever I collaborate with my guitarist friend, my violinist brother, my pianist player, when we all come together, we go by Afro Genius. And individually, I'm Genius Art. So we also have an instrumental album out called Sun, Water, Love that we just released. And this goes back to kind of some of the interview questions. Like, my purpose is literally what I'm plugging right now. So like when people listen to my stuff, I actually have legit healing properties in my music, like sound bowls. I set all my stuff to certain hertz to where I'm actually putting intention in the music. I just don't like to release just anything. So, but I also make all kinds of genres: hip hop, R&B, soul, funk, jazz, EDM, house music, everything.
You make noise.
Also, if you guys check out Hadia George, I produced her newest debut single.
What's
and
that
she
name
signed
again?
to a major
Say it
label
again.
out in London. Hadia George. The song is called Balance. I produced that bad boy, and it's on all platforms. She signed to a major label out in London called Defected Records, and that song just dropped, so I'm excited about that one as well. But yeah, so that's me. I'm Genius Art, or some call me Cal, and that's pretty much it, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Hold on just a second. And dude, no, I appreciate you. I tell anybody and everybody that will listen, the greatest gift you can give another human being is your time. And brother, you gave that
Absolutely.
to us. You brought us your time. And showed us your world. You know, brought us into places. That's what's this process is like opening. Not I don't want to claim that for other people. I know it is for me. That by the end, no matter what kind of day I'm having, dude, thank you, brother, thank you.
I'm telling you, we have so many different conversations that we could go into. Like,
yeah, right.
we have so many. You definitely got to come back, man. Like, we got to have you back on for sure.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you for reaching out. This is actually